The observation deck of the orbital station hummed with the quiet desperation of waiting. Harry pressed his palm against the reinforced glass, watching the debris field where the Krell armada had been decimated 3 hours ago. Somewhere in that graveyard of twisted metal and frozen vapor, Honey was still out there. "She's gone, Dr. Harrison," Commander Webb said behind him, her voice clinical. "No biosignature for 47 minutes. Protocol dictates protocol can wait another hour," Harry snapped, not turning from the window. His reflection stared back at him, hollow eyes. 3 days of stubble. The kind of exhaustion that came from loving something the universe had never designed. Him to love. Honey, Princess Selthara of the Velkari Empire, the alien who had chosen Earth as her adopted home, who had learned to drink coffee despite her species' caffeine intolerance, who had laughed at his terrible jokes with that crystalline trill that made her bioluminescent skin ripple with colors humanity had no names for. The alien who had kissed him the night before the battle, her three-fingered hand cupping his face with impossible gentleness, and whispered in broken English, "I fight for you, Harry, for us." His wrist terminal chirped. Another diplomatic message from the Velkari High Command, the 7th in 2 hours. They wanted to know the status of their princess. They wanted to know if Earth had failed in its duty to protect her. They wanted to know if the alliance would hold. Harry deleted it. Without reading, the truth was more complicated than alliances and protocols. 6 months ago, Honey had arrived as part of the First Contact delegation, a princess sent to evaluate whether humanity deserved a place in the galactic conquest. She was supposed to observe, to report, to remain distant and analytical. Instead, she had fallen in love with Earth, with its chaotic cities and inexplicable customs, with its music and its rain, with the way humans threw themselves into impossible causes without calculating the odds. With him, Harriet, a xenobiologist who had spent his entire career studying the theoretical biology of species humanity had never met, who had sat across from her in that first diplomatic dinner, answering her endless questions about Earth's biodiversity, about why humans cried when they were happy, about why they kept pets instead of consuming them. "Your species is inefficient," she had said, her translator rendering her melodic language into flat synthetic English, and yet fascinating. 3 months later, they had kissed for the first time in his laboratory, surrounded by gene sequences and holographic anatomical displays. It had been clumsy and strange, their biochemistries were barely compatible, their bodies shaped by different evolutionary pressures. But when her skin had flushed that deep violet that meant joy, Harry had known he would give anything to see that color again. The Krell invasion had changed everything. A hive mind species bent on consuming all organic matter in their path. When they had entered Earth's system, every species in the Concordat had calculated the odds and found them wanting. Most had begun evacuating their delegations. Honey had stayed. "I am Velkari," she had told Harry, suiting up in her combat exoskeleton. "We do not abandon those we have claimed as worthy. And I have claimed you, Harry Harrison. You and your entire foolish, beautiful species." She had led the defense personally, her neural piloting interface allowing her to control a squadron of fighters with the precision of a symphony conductor. For 3 days, she had held the line against impossible odds, buying time for Earth's defense fleet to mobilize. Until her signal had vanished. Harry Webb's voice was softer now. "The Velkari are recalling their forces. Without the princess to command them, they're following their own protocols. We're on our own." Harry closed his eyes. The math was simple and brutal. Without Velkari support, Earth had perhaps 6 hours before the Krell broke through. Evacuation would save maybe 3% of the population. The rest would become biomass for the hive. "So we die," he said simply. "We die." The terminal on his wrist exploded with alerts. Webb's communicator screamed. Every sensor on the station lit up at once. A ship was emerging from the debris field, not just any ship, a Velkari dreadnought, its hull scarred and melted, trailing atmosphere from a dozen breaches. It was moving on thrusters alone, its main drives clearly dead, but it was moving, and on its command frequency, a voice. "Orbital Station 7, this is Princess South, requesting emergency docking and medical assistance." Harry was running before he consciously decided to move. Webb shouting after him about quarantine protocols and structural integrity. He didn't care. The docking bay was 3 levels down, and he took the stairs because waiting for the lift would have killed him. The docking collar was still pressurizing when he arrived, warning lights flashing red. Through the small viewport he could see the ruined ship, see the emergency airlock cycling open. Then Honey stepped through. Her exoskeleton was cracked open like an eggshell. Her bioluminescent skin, normally pulsing with vibrant colors, was dim and flickering. One of her 3 arms hung useless at her side. Purple blood, or what passed for it in her species, stained her entire right side, but she was alive. Her large eyes, black and depthless, found him through the view, and in that moment, Harry saw something he had never seen in all their time together. Fear. The airlock finished cycling. The door opened. Honey took 1 step forward, then collapsed to her knees. Harry was through the door before the safety protocols could stop him, catching her before she hit the deck. "Harry," she said, her voice unfiltered by translator, the crystalline tones of her native language washing over him, then switching to English, each word clearly painful. "Did you forsake me, human?" The question hit him like a physical blow. "What? Never. I've been waiting. My people called retreat." Her good hand gripped his shirt with desperate strength. "They said Earth had calculated the cost and found us wanting, that you had decided the alliance was not worth maintaining, that I was abandoned here." Harry understood then. In those 47 minutes of radio silence, the Valkyrie High Command had reached their own conclusions, had decided that without their princess's signal, Earth had made its choice. "They lied to you," Harry said, pulling her closer, not caring about the toxic compounds in her blood that were probably burning through his skin. "Or they were wrong. I would never forsake you. Never." Honey's skin flickered, a weak pulse of that violet color he loved. "My ship is dead. My squadron is gone. I brought the Krell Queen's corpse as proof. Her neural matrix, secured in stasis. With it, the hive will fracture, scatter. Earth is safe. You killed their queen." Harry stared at her. "Inefficiently," Honey said, and that crystalline trill that was her laughter bubbled up through the pain. "Very human of me, yes." Medical teams were pouring in now, xenobiological equipment that Harry himself had helped design, but Honey wouldn't release his shirt. Her black eyes locked on his. "You stayed," she whispered, "even when they said I was dead. You stayed." "Of course, I stayed," Harry said, feeling something hot on his face and realizing he was crying. "You're Honey, you're my." He stumbled over the word, not knowing if humans had a term that could encompass what she meant to him. "You're mine." Her skin pulsed violet, stronger now. "And you are mine, Harry Harrison, my inefficient, illogical, perfectly foolish human." As the medical teams surrounded them, as Webb began broadcasting the news that Earth was saved, as the Valkyrie fleet received word that their princess lived, Harry held Honey and realized something fundamental. Love, it turned out, was the most universal force in existence, not because it made sense, not because it was efficient or logical or could be calculated by any protocol, but because when you found it, you would cross debris fields and fight hive queens and wait at viewports until the stars went dark, just for one more chance to see that particular shade of violet bloom across alien skin. "Never forsaken," Harry whispered into her translator pickup. "Never forgotten, never alone." Honey's hand tightened on his shirt. "Never," she agreed. And in the cold mathematics of the universe, that single word carried more weight than all the warships and protocols and diplomatic calculations combined. It meant everything.